Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Dadas Show, coming to you from Best Western Hotel, Upper Hill here in Nairobi. I'm your host, Ashiko Mbune. The Dadas Show aspires to promote a spirit of sisterhood and solidarity amongst Kenyan women. And we do this by having open and safe conversations for women to be able to discuss issues pertaining to their lifestyle, to their health, to their work, to their families, and anything that affects them in any way, shape, or form. Now, one of the most common conversations that is being had nowadays, be it on the streets, be it in the offices, even in the places of worship, is the high cost of living. If you do not believe me, look at your monthly expenses. It is obvious that the prices of the common commodities such as unga, sugar, milk, everything is on the rise. Last year, we had a similar conversation on this very panel here on Dadas Show, where our female political aspirants told us what they intend to put in place to be able to relieve the common mwananchi from the high burden of the high cost of living. Months down the road, very little has changed, and we just want to know how we can be able to mitigate as women. Women are going hungry, women are not being able to provide for their families. And as we know, women are the backbone of the society. So what does Mama Mboga do? What does your local shopkeeper do? How do we go about being able to survive these harsh economic times? As always, we welcome you at home to give us your feedback and your thoughts on this and any other query that you may have in regards to this episode and any other episode that we have aired before. Reach us across all our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1. You can also reach me personally at Ashiko, the host, across all social media platforms. So before we jump into today's conversation and meet industry experts who are going to tell us how we will navigate these rough waters, let's take a look at the following feature.
The rising cost of living has left many Kenyans feeling the pinch, with prices of maize flour, wheat flour and cooking oil going up. The prices of maize flour remain relatively high at between 210 and 260 shillings per 2 kilogram packet, depending on the brand. Maize prices increased by 18.4%, retailing at an average of 5,000 shillings per 90 kilogram bag, according to the July 2023 inflation data. According to data by Central Bank of Kenya, cooking oil prices reported a significant drop of 17.9% during the same month under review. There was a significant drop in prices of liquefied petroleum gas by 10.1% in July 2023. A 13-kilogram cooking gas cylinder was refilled at an average of 1,900 shillings, while a 6-kilogram cylinder refill cost dropped from 1,050 to 850 shillings as of August 2023. Sugar, which has maintained market prices since the start of the year, saw its retail price rise from 115 shillings to 250 shillings for 1 kilogram. And a 2-kilogram packet retails for around 490 shillings to 510 shillings, crossing the 500 shillings mark for the first time in the country's market history. This comes after the government introduced an excess duty of 5 shillings per kilogram of imported sugar in the Finance Act 2023, which was recently implemented. Kenyans continue to feel the heat even as inflation eased to 7.3% in July 2023, below the Central Bank of Kenya target of 7.5%. Data from the National Bureau of Statistics showed that food and fuel prices increased by 8.6% and 14.5% respectively during the month of June to July 2023. Kenya's economy is expected to expand by 5.8% in 2023, a slower pace than the previously forecast of 6.1% because of lower growth in agricultural sector, Central Bank of Kenya Governor Patrick Njoroge said during a press briefing. During his 2022 presidential campaign, the president promised to reduce the overall cost of living by increasing production through measures such as the provision of seeds and subsidized fertilizer. After assuming office last September, President Ruto removed fuel subsidies, introduced subsidized fertilizer program that has seen an additional 200,000 acres of farmland put into production.
The total amount spent so far on the fertilizer subsidy program is a small fraction of the annual cost of consumption subsidies, and yet its impact is nothing short of tremendous. Our target this year and annually going forward is to produce 61 million bags annually between this year all the way to 2027. And I'm told that yesterday alone, 34,000 bags of subsidized fertilizer were sold to our farmers. Many farmers who use 1 bag per acre get anywhere between 12 and 15 bags. But if they double the use of fertilizer, and I want every farmer to listen to me because this is what I do in my farm. Yeah? When you double the use of fertilizer, there is a direct correlation to the production that you get.
Former President Uhuru Kenyatta introduced fuel subsidies to cushion Kenyans from the high cost of living. The program ran between October 2021 and September 2022. The cost of living is expected to rise further following the enactment of Finance Act 2023 that is expected to reduce the disposable income of many income earners due to the revision of the payee upwards, as well as the introduction of 1.5% contributions towards the Housing Development Fund.
Welcome back. As mentioned before the break, I am joined by 2 individuals who are going to give us some more insight on the current state of economy in our country, and will also give us recommendations on how we can be able, as women, how we can be able to navigate these rough waters. So right next to me, I have the Vice Chairperson of Women in Business, which is very interesting. Last year, we had Mary Modhonigo at Sate, who is the current chairperson, and now we have Madam Makena. Karibu sana. Thank you so much for making time to come to Dadas show. And then right next to her, we have an economist. We have Madam Charlene Olalo, who has dedicated her time and her energy to be able to expound and to elaborate more about the Kenyan economy. Of course, I cannot fail to acknowledge my wonderful audience who make time week in, week out to come and discuss contentious issues affecting the women of Kenya. And of course, for us to find lasting solutions. So just to get the ball rolling on today's discussion, I'll come straight to you, Charlene. So we've been going on and on about high cost of living, economy kombaya, everybody's lalamika, and we have seen, protests and marches happening, sprouting up across the country in the past couple of months. So kindly break it down for us. What is the current state of economy within these beautiful borders of ours?
Thank you so much, Helen, for that. So when you're talking about the cost of living in Kenya, basically we're talking about the finances, the financial resources that we need to be able to survive within the economy. So in terms of food costs, the transport costs, we are looking at housing costs, the utility costs. So for us to be able to know where we are at as now as Kenyans, we need to analyze like what has been happening in terms of the food prices across maybe the last 1 year. Yes. What has been the transport costs across the last 1 year. So just to break it down, food prices, according to a report by the KNBS, yes, from last year April to this year April, the food prices are just basically picking beans, sugar, and cooking oil. So the prices of beans have been rising by about 22%. So last year around June, we would get maybe a 90 kg bag of beans at around 8,000. But right now, for you to buy a 90 kg bag of beans is around 10 to 15,000. So that is extreme. And you imagine, for example, in schools where now you need to feed kids because that is the main meal that they use for beans, for githeri, for just rice and beans. So for this extra cost that we're going to incur there is just something else. Looking at the power bill. Last year you would get maybe at around June you would get for 1,000 bob, you'll get maybe around 45 units. Yes. Right now, you're getting 30 to 35 units. Yes. That is crazy. Yes. So looking at all these factors and just putting them all together, we can generally say that the cost of living has just become too high for us as Kenyans. And these are the basic things that we need to be able to survive on a day-to-day basis. So we really need to look for a way of navigating through that. Yeah. Yes.
Thank you so much. And thank you for even just, giving us a scope of what the current situation look like. And that is just for a common mwananchi. Here we've not looked at people, the mama mbogas, like I mentioned, the shopkeepers. We're not looking at business ladies and entrepreneurs. Here we're just looking for us to be able to survive and perhaps feed our children. So now that's why I come to you, Madam McKenna. When you are in an organization that networks with women who are both employed and who are, who are running their own businesses. And through your networking, what is the temperament like? What are they talking about out there? What is the current state of women in business in this here economy? Yeah.
Okay, thank you, my friend Shiko. The current status of the economy, even for women in business, the people you're interacting with them with every day, it's actually, the economy is just terrible right now. People are experiencing delays on everything, even people who are working, even people who are employed. They're experiencing delays on their salaries. So to navigate this particular issue, what I would ask and what we are asking our women in business to do is to try and cut cost of their living standards. Try and cut cost of their rents where they are doing businesses so that they can be able to get a solution on this. Because even if we really target on the government, what the government can do to us, even us as business women, even those people who are working, women who are working, who are employed actually, they have to do something to get out of this. What are we encouraging the women to do? Walk to work. You see, if you can be able to walk to work, avoid driving to work if that can cut cost. Carpool to work. You see, by actually looking for solutions and not really discussing problems every time, I think as women we will get somewhere.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So that is the current state of how things are looking for the women in business. What about what about some of the things? There were some of the complaints that had arisen when we previously had a conversation. We were talking about multiple licensings and SMEs. Are the women who are conducting business now, are they having an easier time? Have things, maybe with the change in government? Maybe we can start off with what are some of the recommendations the government has put in place, and what perhaps do they need to work on?
Currently, even after the change of the government, I don't think there's a change, and change is coming. Yes. You see, when you change, when you vote a new house, the renovation takes time. The renovation is bumpy, but the results are good. Yeah. So that is what we are hopeful. But for now, I can't really say the licenses have gone down. Regulatories for business, it has not really gone down up to where we are now. But we are still hopeful. And what we expect the government to help us with as business women, maybe to keep to give us training opportunities. I think that will really help women if they can get a platform. We are already having so many. Actually, the government has helped in organizations which are leading women. You see, we are getting platforms where we can be able to access money easily. Yes. You know that we end a big challenge of women getting capital. Like women cannot access loans easily from the banks. Banks are reluctant to lend women. And because of collateral, lack of collateral. Women own cars, women drive cars, but they don't even have their log. The logbooks are not on their names. So we have been lacking collateral, and the government actually chipped in on that in a very big way. We have now platforms which are lending women and which are favoring women. So I think we can say we are getting somewhere. Oh, wow. Yes.
Well, at least that's encouraging for women, especially women at home. Right now, if you're thinking about looking maybe for a loan, and like Madam McKenna has said, there's a certain outfits out there that are actually lending women money, microfinances with the interest that, affordable interest rates, which is always something that is so good. So that's one thing that women in business can mitigate. But now if we come back to the local mwananchi, a woman, me right here as a Shiko, as a mother, as a worker, what are some of the best practices that I can put in place as an economist so that I can be able to navigate? Because like we are saying, none of us know when this is coming to an end, but one way or another, we have to survive. We have to raise our children. We have to eat. We have to go to work. We have to pay our bills. What are some of the ways that, what are some of the good practices that you would be able to recommend our sisters and our brothers back home to put in place?
Yeah, I think the first thing that we need to do is to look at our budgets and our expenses. We really need to reevaluate that so that we be able to know what are our needs, what are our wants, so that we prioritize our needs and not our wants. So for example, you buy a 300 bob cup of coffee every morning for you to go to work. Why don't you just make the coffee at home and then you head to work? You spend almost, let's say around 500 shillings every day for lunch. Why don't you just do meal prepping at home and then you carry that food to work? So looking at, in terms of transport costs, you live in a neighborhood, your kid and your neighbor's kid go to the same school. Why don't you carpool to school? So looking at all these factors, moving around these factors can really help you to cut on one or two costs here and there. Looking at the electricity cost, why don't you, instead of leaving your lights on the whole day, just do the normal thing that we were taught when we were young.
When we were growing up.
Yeah, when we were growing up. Why don't you just switch off the lights when you're not using it, and then you save on cost. So just basically looking at what the day-to-day activities that we do in terms of clothing. Instead of you going to buy ready-made clothes, there are clothes in Gikomba. You can get quality clothes there. They're actually designer clothes there.
The thrift market.
Yeah, the thrift market. Yeah.
People are now thrifting.
Yes, you can actually get quality items there.
Yes.
So just navigating that and looking at all these activities and looking deep down to be able to explore such activities, such opportunities will really help us cut down on costs. Yes.
Wow, thank you so much for that, Charlene.
Yeah.
So, Makena, you touched a little bit about what the government is doing, but I would want you to expound a little bit further. You know, so far, what is the government doing to alleviate the suffering of the women, maybe in business, and what recommendations, if they've not done it yet, what recommendations can you be able to give them, to put in place? Yes.
Okay, what the government has done. Previously, we have seen the government has done quite much on women, because even if you are looking at women in business, a woman cannot be comfortable in business or in working place if she's not comfortable at home. So what has the government done on this? They have created some policies. We have some workable regulatory needs which have helped really a woman or a female, a she. Some of them, like in 2006, there was they put up in place a policy on domestic violence, prevention of domestic violence. Then also there are quite a number of them. In 2015, there was prevention against FGM. All these policies have really helped women they have given confidence to women, and that is why we are where we are now. You know, when you give a woman confidence, when you give a woman a flat need to play, a flat ground to play on, that one has really helped us. It has given us, the government has given us equal playground. Like a C-suit is no longer a major issue to us. Yes. We are sitting on those tables. When I say a C-suit, I actually mean like we can get women now who are CFOs, CEOs. You know, now we are no longer on D levels that you are director of these. No, we are coming up to C-suits, and which is really encouraging that at least the government is protecting us there. But also, what the government can do better, it has played us a role, but it has a bigger role to play. Yes. The government has asked to do so much to protect women, as to do like, I can give a good example. It can look small, but actually it is impactful to women if you need. Like they can just target on TVETs. That's Kenyan women, we are very good on skills, hand-based skills, actually. And if our government can be able to give women training, like if they train women on pastry, the women will not look on being employed only. They can make some mandazi here and sell. You see, plumbing, women are very good. And I have a very good example of like in Nakuru, there is a MP called Irene Joki, Mrembo Nakazi, who has really actually imparted women on training. And I can tell you, she, for some time now, even when she was on a campaign in Israel, she trained more than 600 women. And from those 600 women whom she trained, 80% are doing their own business. They did not go there out to look for business. They are doing their own business. So I think the government can support on that, yes, to make sure women, a common woman is given something she can...
Some form of training.
Some form of
so
training.
So that she can get empowered.
Empowered, oh
because
yes.
At the end of the day, I believe a woman with a skill and can be able to make her own money is definitely an empowered woman, where she's not dependent on other things. Now, Charlene, what should we anticipate? What should we be looking forward to? What does our current state of economy look like? If you were in a predictive state, how would it look like, let's say, for the next 6 months or so?
Okay, just looking at where we are now, personally, I don't see light at the end of the tunnel. Oh dear. But don't get me wrong, but looking at the measures that are already put in place, in terms of policies, in terms of just generally the different regulatory frameworks that have been put in place, if all these are effectively done or utilized, we can really grow as a nation. Looking at the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, it offers an opportunity for women who are involved in the agricultural value chains to be able to obtain cheap raw materials. But now, due to lack of information, yes, people don't know that they can leverage this. So if we just decide that we be intentional with our actions, we involve women, we let them know of all these opportunities, and generally just the whole population as a whole, like let them know that these are the opportunities that are outside there, these are the agreements that we have made with this country, this is how you can leverage that. In terms of the dollar rate, right now, the Kenyan shilling has been depreciating against the dollar. But that is not a bad thing, because for someone who is exporting, you are actually earning more. So why don't you look for a way or look at a niche in the market? Then you explore that. You try and look for a way of creating that product and exporting it and take advantage of the dollar, the Kenya shilling depreciating against the dollar, and be able to make something out of it. So if all these policies are effectively utilized, we will be far as a nation. So actually inflation numbers are supposed to come out on Thursday. That's when now we can know where we are at as per now. And I think I will just put it out there that our organization, we do weekly reports, the global markets report. So basically we let our subscribers know what is happening in the global markets, what is happening in the regional markets, what is happening in the Kenyan market, and basically how these different changes are affecting us. For example, if the US is increasing their interest rate, how is that affecting the dollar, and how will that affect Kenya? So we do that, and we would love to let it put it out there to educate people, because information is power. So we would love to be your source of information. So thank you for that.
So it's really good that we're talking about information is power, because I believe some of the things that have been very crucial to mitigate these times has been flooding yourself with information, getting to know what kind of meals you can actually be able to substitute. You know, that for me has been very crucial. You know, reading wide, reading large, so that you can know, okay, fine then. So if this is where the dollar is today, what should I need to do? So gone are the days of sticking our heads in the sand and thinking that everything is going to be fine. Okay, fine then. So if I cannot afford this, can I supplement with this? You know, do I necessarily need to live in this expensive house and I can be able to substitute? How do I get myself plugged into digital marketing so that I can utilize that pseudo-free platform to sell my produce? And not speaking of information, when we are talking about information, if there's someone right now, and you as the vice chairperson of Women in Business, the organization, there's a lady out there who is, because like we said, nowadays it's almost impossible to survive on one income, and she's thinking, I want to get into business. What kind of advice would you have for them?
Where now in this economy where we are encouraging women actually to get into business. We are not discouraging them. However, it is hard. It is not easy. So I'm really preparing that young person, that young woman, that young lady. It's a clause even for men. When those who are really interested in joining the business, they should come really prepared that it is not easy, and they should be ready to take risk. You get business, in business you have to be ready to take risk. But at the end of the day, if they are persistent in the market, if they are confident, you know, they be confident in what they are good in. Let them embrace digital network right now. Actually, there is so much there's a lot of innovative someone can even get from the digital market. So when they are joining the market, let them be ready to really strive and work towards proper competition. Let them come with something different. If you want to join business now, let's think of doing something in a different way. If it is the addressing, if it is whatever business, it is no longer the usual.
Yes.
Even the registration itself, when they go to register, let them start actually by protecting their business through registration. But registration, the government actually has made it very easy. You can register your company when you're sitting right in your comfort of your house. And within some few minutes, that one, young people can attest to that. If for those who are embracing digital, it's working.
Oh, wow.
Yes, yes.
So your advice to them is if you're home and you're thinking about taking the plunge into being a business owner, despite and in spite of our current state of affairs in terms of our economy, then McKenna informs us, you know, embrace digitalism. Is that even a word? Embrace being digital. Yes. Be prepared that it's not going to be easy. You have to be resilient. You have to be hardworking. What about you, Charlene? You know, knowing what you know right now.
Yeah.
First, if you were to give any recommendations to our honorable government, what would you suggest? What are some of the good practices that you would suggest that we should perhaps start playing?
Okay, just on the top of my head, for the young people, I would love for the government to embrace the micro task sort of business entity. Yes. Right now, people are very busy with the corporate world. In the corporate world, someone is always in the office, maybe from 8 to even 7 p.m. They want their errands to be run by someone else. They're delegating, in terms of delegating. So someone wants maybe kitchen utensils in Kamkunji. They want maybe baby clothes in Biashara Street. We as young people, you live with the same people in the same building or in the same neighborhood. When you talk to these people, they'll be like, you can go get me this and then I pay you something. That is a way of earning something. So let us, not even as a government alone, let us as individuals also embrace or empower the young people so that they can be, they don't just focus their minds on, I'm going to finish campus, I'm going to apply for jobs and go to the office, or I'm going to start my internship and just go to the office. There are very minor tasks that they can be involved in, that can pick something in them, or that can generate an interest in them, that can actually now help them to be able to generate a business idea out of it. So they don't have to depend on the white collar jobs or just the norm in the society. So yeah. Yeah.
Wow. So you're endorsing the the incubation periods when people have to sit down and innovation, which I think is also really good, because I think it's about time that we stop thinking, in the box.
Yeah, for sure.
We need to break the box open and look for ways to make money.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I believe opportunity is there. I believe people are blessed and creative beyond control. And I think it's the powers that may be in the organizations, the private sector, the public sector need to step in to be able to harness these individuals, to be able to encourage these individuals to actually explore further. So we're going to take a very short break, and then we'll come back for the question and answer session. Please don't go far away.
With the allowance that I'm given by my own parents and the bills that I'm supposed to pay, the allowance is the same, but the bills are higher. So you find that now most of the things I have to cut off, most of the things that I'm supposed to do, that I used to do in order for me to be able to cater my bills. And with that, it has even made it so hard for me to not have a saving culture. I think that the government should just take their time and look at the common mwananchi. When they're imposing the tax, they don't consider that person who is selling smokies, that person who is selling sweets, the hawkers. They just impose the tax, but they don't consider everyone else.
Especially wale wanakaa in Nairobi, maisha ni magumu sana. Kila kitu ni pesa hapa. Unajua kama mimi nimekaa sana hapa Nairobi na nimelelewa hapa. Wakati wazazi walikuwa wanatulea maisha ikuwa hivi. Kwa hivyo mimi naambia hii serikali wajaribu tu kuangalia mwananchi wa kawaida. Walisema ni bottom up.
The cost of living, the prices going up, it has affected everyone. But for women, we have a lot to juggle, work, home, family. So from my experience, I can say it has affected me budget-wise. There are some things now I can't do which I used to do, which I have to sacrifice so that my finances can, the budget, the money I receive, it can fit in. What I would suggest the government to do is to look at the prices of food. Food is a basic commodity. We are all humans, we all need food. Food and water, those are basic, and also housing. At least if they can look to that and reduce the cost of VAT, because also the manufacturers are being charged as well. So they start from the root. After then it comes to us consumers, at least the prices will go down.
Welcome back to the second segment of Dadas show. This is a segment that I actually really like, where our audience gets an opportunity to interact with our panel. So if they have any questions, any feedback, anything that that can be addressed during this session. Now, remember, even you at home can also get in touch with us across all the social media platforms on KBC Channel 1. You can also reach me directly at Ashiko, the host, across all social media platforms. I look forward to hearing from you. So to start us off on this question and answer session, we will start off with Madam Rosemary.
My name is Rosemary Anjiko, and my question is to Charlene. As a student in the university, which are some of the investments I can get into to help me through tough economic times?
Thank you so much for your question, Rosemary. So looking at just a way a campus student can invest, there are two major or investment options. You can start a side hustle, which may be through like looking at yourself. What are you passionate about, or what are you good at? For example, is it maybe baking? Is it you can make mandazis? Looking at selling lollipops, selling one packet can be able to help you to get another packet. So that can help you get some extra income. The other option is investing in money markets. The money market farms in Kenya right now have quite good interests. So, for example, like one can have an interest rate of about 12%. So if you invest this money, like I know you have, during campus times, you might have maybe 1,000 bob or 2,000 bob. So if you put this money in the money market fund, maybe at the end of the year, your money will be able to earn an interest of about 12%, which can help you because right there and then, you're not using that money to do something major. It's all, you're trying to look for a way of maybe getting money at the end of the year to do something. You need to start a business. So you can put your money there to be an emergency fund, to be money that you can invest in a business with. So that is one, those are the two main points that come to the top of my head right now. Yes.
Thank you so much, Charlene. That's really well put. I think the idea is, and I do agree with you. In general, those are the most common. But of course, as we keep on going, there are more innovative products that are coming out in our industry. So the best thing to do is to obviously, like you said, do a budget. What are your goals? What are your needs? What are your wants? What do you need the money for? And then have do enough research, and then have a plan or how you will invest your money. So, Rosemary, I hope your question has been answered. Thank you so much, Rosemary. So the next question is from Shalom.
Thank you, Ashiko. My name is Shalom, and my question is to Madam McKenna. So I'm asking, what if I want to join the Women in Business? What is the process and what?
Okay, thank you, Sharon, for the good question. If you would like to join Women in Business, we have our pay bill numbers, which are actually on our websites, and if you can also contact our office. Our contacts are 0715 900 900. Then you'll get all the information you would want to. Again, the benefits, you asked also about the benefits for joining Women in Business Network. Our work is to connect you to reach, engage like-minded people. That is our main business as Women in Business membership. We'll raise your profile. We'll give you the educative materials on. We'll be sending through your emails the educative materials you need for the industry you want to venture in or you've been in.
Wow. I think that's very profitable. I believe nowadays the only way we can be able to proceed, be it in business, be it in our personal lives, be it in our professional lives, is to network and to network greatly and create bonds and connections that are going to be valuable to you in the long run. So no man is an island. And I hope, Shalom, your question has been answered. Okay, thank you so much. The next question we have is from Sue.
Thank you, Ashiko. My name is Susan Maura, and my question goes to the economist. According to the Act of 2023, what are some of the amendments affecting the women?
Thank you so much for that question. Looking at the Finance Act 2023, there are several amendments that have been made that affect women. Looking at the beauty industry, there's been a 5% excise duty introduction into that industry. This means that artificial nails, wigs, they're all going to be taxed. So for a woman in that sector, you are now faced with you're faced with an issue of whether to hike your prices and lose some of your customers, or you forgo the profit margin that you get from that sector. So the other amendment is the introduction of the 15% excise duty on the mobile money transfers. Looking at the Kenyan industry right now, women are mostly concentrated on the informal sector, and due to the challenges that they face in opening bank accounts, they mainly carry out their transactions using their mobile phones. So when telecom companies now hike this, they introduce this excise duty, it now will transfer to the digital lenders, which will now come back to the people who are borrowing this money. So this sort of hinders women from getting credit to be able to operate their businesses. So those are the main amendments that I think and I feel will greatly impact women. Yes.
Thank you so much, Charlene. I hope your question has been answered, Sue.
Yes.
Okay. Our next question is from Juliet.
My question goes to Madam McKenna. Now that the Gen Zs are taking over and they have lots and lots of preferences in all aspects of life, which are the business ideas you'll recommend that will really work greatly for women?
Thank you for the question, Juliet. What I would advise, especially for the young generation of women, it's to just break the ceiling. Do what men are doing and do it in a better way. Don't focus on the businesses which were referred to as women businesses. You open a salon, you learn a barber shop, I would advise the young generation, if a woman, just go for the opportunities which are there. Go strongly, be very virtuous about them, and you'll come out successfully. If it's in construction, yes, join us. We have a group, Join Women in Business. We have a group for women in construction. Kindly, you can come and consult. We actually have, in Women in Business now, we are targeting businesses which both women and men can do, and we are pushing our women to do them better.
Thank you so much, Madam McKenna. That's a very nice way, especially when we are dealing with Gen Z, because we cannot be able to put them in a box. We cannot be able to say this is what you can do, this is what you cannot do. So, of course, even for the Gen Zs who are watching us at home, if you have a Gen Z in the house, remember to push them to break the glass ceiling. You know, anything that they're passionate about and they want to pursue. We have moved from the era of hii ni kazi ya mwanaume, hii ni kazi ya mwanamke. So Juliet, I would say the world is your oyster. The opportunities are limitless. So please, go for it. So our next question or comment is from Elfas.
Thank you so much, Madam Shiko. My question goes to the expert. My name is Elfas. You as an economist, with your own perspective, regarding our current Kenyan policies, is there any hope to revive our economy?
Thank you so much for that question. I think looking at women, we're mainly affected in terms of in the health sector, accessing good healthcare or affordable healthcare. So one of the policies that the government has actually introduced is the issue around anyone manufacturing human vaccines in Kenya, or anyone having they call it the royalties, to be able to manufacture vaccines in Kenya, then exempted from paying taxes. So this is a very good move, because it will encourage companies or investors to come and invest in Kenya. And when they invest in Kenya, it means that the cost of medication or the cost of drugs will be affordable, meaning that women who are the vulnerable groups accessing healthcare will not be as a greater issue as it was before. Because right now, when you look at the cost of drugs, cost of medicine in the country right now, they factor in the transportation costs that they have used to be able to bring those drugs or that medicine into the country. So if we are able to manufacture all these vaccines in Kenya, we'll be able to actually cater for the disease that are actually prevalent in Kenya. Not just, we don't have to look maybe to US to now bring us this medicine, and we already know what our people are suffering from. So we can use this opportunity and set our mark in the country and also in the whole Africa, because we can be able to leverage this and also sell our medicinal drugs around and across Africa. So this policy would really help women in the country. Yes.
I mean, I agree with you. I think that's a very interesting way to look at it, Elphas, because once we have a healthy generation, once the infant mortality rate is reduced, once people can be able to get medication, supplements, treatment, then of course we are going to have a more robust generation. So people will work harder. I mean, here we've not even put in the fact about that we can be able to export. So here we're looking at just within our borders. People are not taking time off work, to go for surgeries, in India and in other places. So I do agree with you, and it's very encouraging. And of course, even to you at home, I hope that you've been able to internalize what Charlene has said. In regards to, yes, matters are looking a little bit bleak right now, but one of the moment some of these policies are actually implemented, then, there are clear skies are waiting for us ahead. So our final question of the day or comment is from Hulda.
Thank you so much, Ashiko. I am Matara Hulda, and being that mine is the final question, so how about I bring this home? So a few weeks ago, there was this whole, just to put it out there, mine is more of a cocktail of a concern and a question in the same. So a few weeks ago, there was the whole world coin saga, which the government decided to intervene when a lot of people had actually gone for the entire registration. So we do take into consideration that these are really tough economic times, and people can fall prey to such, like the whole thing was about people took it out to be identity theft and all. So being that they're really tough economic times and the government decided to come in when a lot of people had finally registered for the whole WorldCoin thing, what would you say or what would you propose should be done so that in future similar situations are curbed before they get to a point where they get to the point of extremities where a lot of people have like fallen prey?
Okay. Thank you so much, and definitely you have brought the ball home. I think that's a concern that is a very valid concern, especially amongst people, because there's not only that, but there's been so many get-rich schemes nowadays, and that is definitely something that is ailing Kenyans, and especially women. I mean, we are considered vulnerable, we are considered gullible. We've seen even sometimes, some church, religious extremists also taking advantage. What is being done to step in? And are there regulatory boards that have been put in place so that we can be able to protect our citizens? Because the coin is so hard to come by, and yet someone comes and it looks like Kenya is just a free-for-all. Any scammer who wants to come can come and do their bid here. Charlene.
I think looking at the government or the people in leadership right now, I don't think many are up to date with what is happening outside there. Because if they were up to date, they would have put measures in place beforehand, so that if these things, if these people come into Kenya, they will not be able to operate.
Yes.
But I don't think we have exactly looked ahead and said, this thing might come, let's come up with this so that we can protect our people. This thing might come up, let us protect our people. So everyone is going on the social media platform, they are discovering things, they are trying to look for a way of getting money. So I think as a government, or just generally our policy makers, they really need to look for a way of keeping up with the changing times, so that they can be able to protect their people. Because right now, data is everything. It is everything. So if someone can be able to use this data to make their own money, to to get profits out of it, and at the end of the day your own people are not getting anything like long term out of it, that is not helping the economy. So as leaders, they really need to look for a way of changing with the changing times and coming up with mitigation measures.
Okay, thank you so much about that. So we have come to the end of today's episode. I'd like to invite my honorable panel to be able to give us a parting shot to our viewers back at home. You know, times are thick, people need encouragement, people need to be held their hands and told, you know what, you know, keep at it. So I'll start off with you, Madam McKenna.
Okay. My message to the women out there, basically not also women, cuts are close, it's to keep pushing on. Life is hard, things are tough, the economy is getting worse, but there's we let us remain hopeful, let us try to cut costs as much as possible. That is what I want to say. Let us live within our means so that we are not also, especially women, we are quite vulnerable on when it comes to overspending, when it comes to living a lifestyle which does not fit our pockets. So my message to everyone, including myself, as I'm speaking to myself, is to cut costs. And I wish all women in business out there the best.
Thank you so much. I love that, you know, cut costs, be able to, you know, be able to adjust, you know. Thank you so much, Madam McKenna. I'm sure there's someone at home who truly appreciates what you have said. Yes, Charlene, give us your parting shot.
I think I'll speak for the young women.
Yes, please.
So young women out there, the world right now is so crazy. There are very many platforms that, there are very many ways people are sort of navigating to be able to make money. Some of them legal, some of them illegal. Yeah. But you as a person create your own identity. You as a person look for something that will help you grow. Someone might be doing something temporary to get millions, but why don't you walk or move at your own pace? You might not, like someone else might get that 1 million today, but your 1 million might come 10 years down the line. But that 1 million 10 years down the line will help you generate more. But this one, the 1 million right now, might not even may not be permanent. So walk or move at your own pace. It might be slow, it might not pan out right there and then, but just move at your own pace and and just grow with the changing times.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I also like that, especially to the young women, you know, with all the social media out there and comparing and trying to keep up with the Joneses, people are struggling, people are getting themselves into debt. There is so much that is actually happening. So my personal take is there's a wonderful quote that actually summarizes Charles Darwin's book on evolution, which says not the strongest species normally survives, but the most adaptable. So in various times and anything that we are faced with, it's always important to take a step back, get to the drawing board and see what you can be able to adjust. So what if you have to cut down on some costs? So what if you change your barber or you change your hairstyle? So what if you have to go and buy some clothes from a thrift, you know, from a thrift shop or Kikomba or whatever? So what if you change certain things? The idea is about to adapt. Remember that you're not alone in this. We are all walking in this path together. And as long as we hold each other's hand and we support each other, we'll definitely be able to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Remember, the saying is adapt or die. I know it sounds grim, but it's actually the truth. So for the strongest, it's not the strongest species that survives, it is the most adaptable. If you need to grow a tail, grow a tail. If you need to get skills, then get skills. So on behalf of the production team at KBC, my location partners, Best Western Hotel, Upper Hill here in Nairobi, and myself, Ashiko Mbune, I wish you an adaptable week, and I will see you same time, same place next week. So till then, bye-bye.